You've been betrayed. Not by someone you know. By something you've been taught to trust since you were young. The idea that all movement protects you equally. They told you to walk. Walk more. Walk longer. Walk every day. Your doctor said it. Every wellness article you've ever read has repeated the same advice like a sacred truth, and you believed it. Why wouldn't you? Walking is natural. Walking is gentle. Walking feels safe. But what if I told you that while you've been faithfully putting one foot in front of the other, hoping to preserve your strength and independence, something inside you has been quietly disappearing? There's a particular kind of fear that arrives uninvited after 50. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It slips in quietly when you struggle slightly longer to rise from a low chair. When stairs that once meant nothing now demand concentration. When you realize you're rearranging your life around what your body can no longer do easily. You don't talk about it much. Maybe you laugh it off. Maybe you tell yourself it's just age, just life, just the way things go. But underneath that acceptance lives a question you barely let yourself ask. How much more will I lose? And here's what nobody has been willing to tell you clearly. Walking alone cannot answer that question. It's not the way you need it answered. Let me share something that might change how you think about your own body. In recent years, researchers examined something fascinating. They compared two groups of adults over 60. Both groups were active. Both groups cared about their health. But one group walked for their exercise. The other group did something different. Specific strengthening movements performed while seated. After several months, the difference wasn't small. The group doing seated strengthening exercises showed dramatically better functional strength. Kind of strength that determines whether you can lift a grandchild, carry groceries without help, or get up from a chair without using your hands. We're talking about improvements nearly 30% higher than the walking group. 30%. That's not a minor edge. It's the difference between living freely and living carefully. But here's what makes this even more striking. The walking group, despite their efforts and good intentions, actually lost muscle during the same period. They were moving, they were trying, they were doing what they'd been told. And they were still losing the very thing they were trying to protect. Your body is facing something specific right now, whether you've heard the medical term for it or not. It's called sarcopenia, the gradual, relentless loss of muscle tissue that begins in your 30s and accelerates dramatically after 60. Every decade, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass. By 70, you may have lost a third of your strength. And here's the part that matters most. Walking cannot stop this process. It simply doesn't provide the resistance your muscles need to maintain themselves. Think of your muscles like a garden. Walking waters them. That's good. It's necessary. But strengthening exercises? Those are the sunlight, the nutrients, the deep roots. Without them, the garden withers no matter how much water it receives. Modern research into human aging has revealed something profound. The quality of your later years is undetermined primarily by how far you walk, but by how much strength you preserve. If this is making you reconsider what you thought you knew about staying strong, take a moment and simply write yes in the comments. Sometimes recognizing a truth is the first real step toward changing your path. Let me walk you through 5 specific movements exercises you can do from a chair that address exactly what your body is facing right now. Not theory, not generic advice. Specific actions that orthopedic surgeons have begun prescribing because they work better than almost anything else. Movement 1. Awakening the forgotten pump. Your calves are not just muscles, they're pumps. Every time they contract, they squeeze the veins in your lower legs and push blood back toward your heart, fighting against gravity. When these muscles weaken and walking alone doesn't strengthen them, enough blood begins pooling in your lower legs. Swelling happens. Veins bulge, risk increases for dangerous clots. Recent studies following older adults found something remarkable. Those who performed simple seated calf raises 3 times weekly showed dramatic improvements in circulation efficiency within 12 weeks. Their legs felt lighter. Their ankles stopped swelling. The risk factors for circulation problems dropped substantially. The movement itself is elegant in its simplicity. Sit in a sturdy chair, feet flat, lift your heels, rising onto the balls of your feet. Hold. Feel the squeeze in your calves. Then lower slowly. That lowering phase is where the magic happens. That's where strength builds. 15 repetitions. Work toward 3 sets. Do this daily. Your legs will remember what strength feels like. Movement 2, reclaiming the stairs, your quadriceps. Those large muscles on the front of your thighs determine something fundamental. Whether you can climb stairs without dread, whether you can stand from a toilet without assistance, whether you can exit a car without struggle. These muscles deteriorate faster than almost any other group as you age. Research tracking hundreds of older adults over multiple years found something sobering. Those who did and specifically strengthened their quadriceps lost significant thigh muscle mass. But those who performed simple knee extension exercises actually gained muscle. That's a 20% swing in outcomes from one targeted movement. Seated knee extensions are direct. Sit tall, back against the chair. Straighten one leg fully in front of you. Hold it there, toes pointing up. Squeeze your thigh muscle deliberately, as hard as you can. Hold for 3 seconds. Lower slowly over 4 seconds. The squeeze matters. Don't just lift and let the leg hang. Contract the muscle intentionally. Research shows that this mind-muscle connection actually, feeling and controlling the contraction increases. Strength gains by nearly a third. 12 repetitions each leg, 3 sets. These movements are rebuilding the foundation of your independence. Movement 3, preventing the shuffle. Here's a change you might have noticed. Your walking isn't quite the same. Your steps are shorter. Your feet don't lift as high. You've started shuffling slightly, and you're not entirely sure when it began. This happens because of hip flexor weakness. These muscles lift your thigh toward your chest with every step. When they fade, your gait changes. Your feet barely clear the ground. And suddenly, you're tripping over carpet edges, sidewalk cracks, nothing at all. Major medical research has identified hip flexor weakness as the single strongest predictor of falls in older adults. Those with the weakest hip flexors face 4 times the fall risk. Let that sink in. 4 times. And falls, as you know, aren't minor events at this stage of life. They're often the beginning of a cascade that changes everything. Seated hip marches directly counter this. Sit forward in your chair, spine tall. Lift one knee toward your chest as high as comfortable. Hold for 2 seconds. Lower slowly. Alternate legs. The slower you move, the more effective this becomes. Don't swing your leg up with momentum. Lift it with pure muscular effort. 20 total repetitions, alternating. 3 sets. You retraining your body to lift your legs higher and more powerfully than they would during normal walking. You're training yourself not to fall. If this perspective is shifting something for you, if you realizing strength might matter more than you thought, consider liking this video. It helps others in your situation find their way here too. Movement 4. Straightening what time is curved. Look around at people in their 70s and 80s. Notice how many are hunched forward, shoulders rounded, spine curved. This isn't inevitable. It's a consequence of weakness in specific muscles. Your back muscles. These muscles keep you upright. When they fail, gravity wins. Your shoulders roll forward. Your upper spine curves into what doctors call kyphosis. This doesn't just look aged, it compresses your lungs, making breathing harder. It shifts your center of gravity, increasing fall risk. It causes chronic pain. Walking does absolutely nothing to prevent this. When you walk, your arms swing passively. No pulling. No resistance. No strengthening. Recent studies comparing different exercise approaches found that older adults who performed rowing movements with resistance bands showed measurable improvement in spinal posture within months. They also reported significantly less upper back and neck pain. The walking-only group, no change. For seated rows, you need an inexpensive resistance band. Loop it around your feet. Hold one end in each hand, arms extended forward. Now pull your elbows back, squeezing your shoulder blades together like you're trying to pinch something between them. Hold that squeeze for 2 seconds. Feel the muscles engage. Release slowly, controlling the band. 15 repetitions. 3 sets. You're building the internal architecture that keeps you standing tall. Movement 5. The one that predicts how long you'll live. If you remember nothing else, remember this movement. Researchers have discovered something extraordinary. Your ability to perform a simple sit-to-stand movement actually predicts your longevity. A landmark study following thousands of adults over several years found that those who could unrise from a sitting position without using their hands were 5 to 6 times more likely to die during the study period. 5 to 6 times? Your ability to stand up from a chair is that significant. This movement engages nearly every major muscle in your lower body, simultaneously. Quadriceps, glutes, calves, core, back. Nothing else provides this comprehensive activation. And it trains the exact movement you perform dozens of times daily, getting out of bed, rising from chairs, exiting cars, using the bathroom. By strengthening this pattern, you're not building abstract fitness. You're building the functional strength that your actual life requires. Perhaps most remarkably, research has shown that older adults performing sit-to-stand exercises regularly increase their bone density significantly. Not maintained it. Increased it. In the hips and femurs, it's exactly where fractures are most devastating. The mechanical stress of standing sends signals to your bones to build new tissue. You're literally making your skeleton stronger with every repetition. Here's how. Sit in a chair, feet flat, slightly wider than hip width. Cross your arms over your chest. No cheating with your hands. Lean slightly forward. Stand by pushing through your heels until fully upright. Pause. Then lower yourself slowly back down over 4 seconds. The key is that slow descent. That's where most strength building happens. If you drop quickly, you're losing half the benefit. Start with 10 repetitions. Back to work. 3 sets of 15. Eventually, hold a light weight against your chest to increase resistance. Within a month, everyday activities will feel different, easier, lighter. You'll move through your days with a confidence you may have forgotten was possible. If you've stayed with me this far, you understand something important. Walking has value. Cardiovascular health matters. But if you want to maintain real independence, if you want to avoid falls, preserve bone density, and keep muscles strong enough to actually live your life fully, you need resistance. You need to challenge your muscles deliberately. The medical consensus is clear. The research is overwhelming. Targeted seated exercises that work muscles against resistance produce superior outcomes for functional strength. Compared to walking alone, you don't need a gym, you don't need expensive equipment, you don't need to be athletic, you need a sturdy chair, maybe a resistance band, and 15 minutes 3 times a week. That small commitment can add years of active, independent living to your future. Start with one movement today, master it over a week, add the next. Progress at your own pace. Your future self, the one still climbing stairs easily, still playing with grandchildren, still living without assistance, will be grateful for the strength you're building right now. If conversations like this, honest, evidence-based, focused on what actually matters at this stage of life, resonate with you, consider subscribing. This is where that journey continues, week after week. Now tell me, which of these movements will you try first? Has anyone ever told you walking was all you needed? Share your thoughts below. I read every response. You haven't been told the complete truth until now, but that changes today.